Thank you so much for coming, and thank you. Hello to everybody on the live stream watching at home on YouTube. I'm so happy you guys could make it down. We had an amazing day yesterday with two fantastic panels talking about the future of digital and community building, and so fantastic. The space is amazing next door, the exhibition. I'm so excited for you all to see it. And I'm so excited for this panel as well, future of formats, and something I'm very passionate about. So I'm going to hand off to Ade, our incredible host, who's going to introduce our panelists.
Perfect. Thank you for a great introduction. The woman of the hour. Good morning, everyone. If you're here at 10 a.m., I'm going to assume it's because you are a creative, you have an idea, or you're a big fan of Chicken Shop Date. I hope over the next 45 minutes or so, we answer your burning questions, we give you some insightful points, but we're also going to give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. So start thinking of them, make them good, and if I say the question already, that just means I'm really good at my job. But hopefully you guys are just as good as well. So today I am joined by an incredible group of people. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, and then we're going to have a conversation. So first off, we have the amazing Asim Chaudry. Please give him a round of applause. Asim is an actor, a writer. He's also been a guest on Chicken Shop Date, but you might not recognize him because he was in a different disguise. From his
I had hair then.
You had hair, there you go.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Don't worry, I got something for you. Yeah. Asim, from his early work on People Just Do Nothing, he's starred in blockbuster films. He's been involved in the making of so many pop culture history moments, and today I hope you can learn a thing or two from him. Next up, we have the amazing Kaio Grizelle. Please give him a round of applause. Kaio is a digital commissioning executive at Channel 4, working with digital talent to commission original, unscripted entertainment. Kaio brings his experience in understanding what audiences are looking for to this panel. And next up, we have Trent Williams-Jones. So cool, he has a double-barrel surname. Trent is an executive producer working at the intersection of digital, branded, and broadcast storytelling. He has years of experience working with talent and developing exciting and innovative shows. And I know he's got a lot to say because we had a nice little yap upstairs. So yeah, you're in for a treat. Last but not least, we have the boss lady herself. Honestly, I'm waiting for your own chicken shop. The woman of the hour, we're here celebrating 10 years of a concept that has turned into so many viral moments, funny interviews. I don't want to know how much chicken and chips you've consumed, because I imagine it's insane. It is Amelia de Moldenberg. Please give her a round of applause. Writer, comedian, creator. She is known for her awkward humor and interviews with global stars. Beyond YouTube, she's become a leading UK creative voice across TV, fashion and culture, and of course, she's the reason that we are all here today. My name is Ade Onibada. I will be your host. Let's get into it. You guys all good?
Very good.
Perfect. Okay, so right out the gate, this conversation is about the future of format. So I'm going to put it to you guys. Every era of television has kind of been defined by formats. I always tell people I was raised by Cilla Black and Bruce Forsyth. Those were my TV mum and dad. If you don't know who they are, you're too young. From the Saturday night TV show to the viral YouTube series, if you had to define this current moment in time, when you think of what the leading format is right now, what would it be? We'll go, Trent.
Up first.
Yeah.
I would say that it depends what side you're looking at, of the coin you're looking at. So my background, I've done digital stuff for a long time. I've also done TV for a long time. And I think from a TV perspective, it's a very scary time, okay? For all the obvious reasons, I'd love to ask how many people in this room actually watch TV, live TV every day. I don't want to see hands because it would be quite depressing, so let's not do that.
That was all the hands.
Oh, that's the hands.
That was all the hands, cool. Yeah, nobody
Great, good
budged.
to know. So I think that's a scary time for them, but also an exciting time. We need to put the positive spin on it. And from a creator digital space, I think kind of we're at the kind of top part of the game now. It's like it's finally happened. The people on this stage, like the people that we all come to watch every day, they're in charge right now, and I think that's also exciting, okay? So from the TV perspective, exciting but scary. From the creative side and the digital side, exciting, and there's so much opportunity to come from it. And what I'm excited about is seeing the two come together. I think it's now the time that there's mutual respect from both sides, I'm not going to take any sides, but mutual respect from both sides for each other, and I think that makes it exciting overall. Exciting is a really boring word, but that's the best word to explain it. So exciting.
Okay. The current format that's leading the way is exciting. Thank you for your insight. Kaio, I'd love to hear from you. Because you do this. You're a commissioner. You look out for what you think is going to work. Anything you've ever seen on Channel 4, 4.0, this guy's probably behind it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not actually going to say a digital format, but I think something like The Traitors, I think it's been really huge in terms of actually, with TV being in quite like a challenging, evolving time, creating new IP and formats that have that real ability to cut through and build huge audiences around. I think Traitors has done an amazing job of that. And I'm really excited to see Celebrity Traitors coming soon. There's some great digital talent there too. So yeah, I think Traitors is really cut through in terms of like unscripted entertainment formats with like great gameplay, great casting and world building. So I think, yeah, in a time where there's maybe not loads of really exciting things coming out on TV, I think Traitors has really been, I think Traitors has been great.
Any Traitors fans in the house? Okay. Confession, I've never actually watched an episode. It's on my to-watch list, though. That I've been influenced by you. Thank you. Asim.
I would say, before I just say that, I love Traitors, and I can't say I'm 100% a faithful, just to get that out there.
You're saying that now.
Yeah, I know. Oh, God. Okay, maybe I'm not a faithful. What was that?
It's just a water.
Oh, right. That's Big Zoo getting some marketing there. Drop the drip.
Listen, Big Zoo is
Shout out to
doing
Big
it.
Zoo.
Shout out to Big Zoo.
I would say, I mean, Amelia knows, we actually started a similar time. So, like, I've known Amelia for years when she was started Chicken Shop Day, you know, in the articles and the magazine stuff. We started on YouTube, People Just Do Nothing, and back then it was like, 2009, 2010, and YouTube wasn't really seen as a place to put like long-form content. It was like where your uncle would send you a funny cat video, you know what I mean? And our dream was to get on TV. Like a lot of our dreams back then was to like, if we get on TV, we're validated, we're on the BBC, we're on Channel 4, all our favorite shows were on those channels, you know what I mean? It was kind of before streaming and the big kind of streamers that took over. So then when we got on TV, it was like, you know, I was speaking to you earlier, we were on BBC Three, and BBC Three had a bit of a golden era with People Just Do Nothing, Fleabag, This Country, you know, hit after hit. Then they decided to go online. And then we were like, oh, hold on, so now we're not on telly anymore, we're online. And then they went back on telly. And now, I mean, you know, 10, 15 years later, we look at it like actually where the power is not like I need to get my show commissioned on TV. It's like I want to build a brand, something like Amelia's done, and have control over your own destiny, and you look for your own sponsorships and your brand deals and have full control. So I think it's really done a 360, you know, it's like, but they, you know, at the same time though, us being on TV for all those years, it did give us that validation of this is a British comedy, you know, and then you get nominated, you win awards, and that validates you as well. But I think now the power has swung back to online and more about ownership and having control of your own product.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Amelia. And we're definitely going to pick up on that point about ownership. And I know you mentioned IP, so we'll definitely come back to that for the benefit of everyone in the room. I'd love to hear your perspective, Amelia.
Well, yeah, I would say right now, I mean, I think YouTube is really where it's at. I mean, obviously, Chicken Shop Day, I love that show. I don't know about you. And so many things that I think people are really loving it in terms of like the entertainment arena right now are on YouTube, whether that's Brittany Broski's show, Quen Blackwell, Hot Ones, Chicken Shop Day, whatever that show is. I feel like YouTube is really the destination for it. But at the same time, I think television is still thriving in these kind of game show formats. You know, you're talking about Traitors, obviously Love Island, everyone's watching that. And I feel like TV and online, they have different audiences, but they also require a different type of format. So like television, I do feel like lends itself now in terms of entertainment to more of those kind of challenge or kind of serialized things which you have to watch weekly or daily. And with YouTube and online, I feel like it's something that you can just dip in and watch whenever, if you're on the tube, if you're eating your lunch. And so I feel like both are still really valuable. But for me, back to Asim's point, I think authenticity is like key right now. And what I think people love so much about watching shows on YouTube and social media is that it feels like so self-authored. So you don't feel like someone has been given a script or they're completely out, like they're not in control. I think what people love about Chicken Shop Date is that like you can tell that it's definitely my ideas, my questions, and my edit and everything. And I think that really cuts through, and that's what I think people are really responding to now more than anything.
Can I just pick up on the reality show point that you both said? I agree with you, and I think that the two formats that are kind of left there is reality show, especially like Love Island and Traitors. But actually, you know, the best reality show that I've seen recently, we were speaking about it in the green room, Drewski. Yeah. I think Drewski's could have been love, even though, listen, it's like trash in the best possible way. But oh my God, like I watched it, and it's the format of a love reality show, right? And we know there's definitely scripted moments, but in terms of pure entertainment and the numbers it's doing, it's unbelievable, you know?
The numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many, I mean, yeah, it's got such an audience. But that's an example as well as like, it's not an original idea in a way. And actually, all of, like, so many things that are doing so well online right now are actually kind of just reinventing television formats that have existed. Even if you think of the Sidemen and what they're doing with Inside, like that's Big Brother.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're just reimagining or like repurposing something that has already existed and kind of repackaging it to like a digital audience, which is kind of what I think is working really well.
And you said Cilla Black.
Yes.
Pop the Balloon.
Pop the Balloon is the new age blind
that's
date.
the new, you know what I mean?
Nobody's blind.
Yeah, I think, you know, there are only so many ideas that actually exist out there in the space. And I think, you know, as a commissioner, you get pitched sort of dozens of ideas a week. But I think what creators are really brilliant at doing are taking like familiar territories and things that we know work really well and the audiences have responded to for years, but then putting really unique twists on them that make them really resonate, whether with like a platform in mind like YouTube, understanding how that works, how to cut through, or how to speak to really specific audiences. But yeah, I think, you know, the likes of Drewski or like Mr. Beast, whether you sort of are into that sort of thing or not, it's hard to ignore like the power of entertainment when it's done in a really smart way with audiences at the forefront and sort of taking the best elements of TV and flipping that in a way that feels like really new.
It's characters as well, though, because the thing that drew me into the Drewski thing is obviously we've all seen him on TikTok and he's hilarious. But on that show, he is still the best thing about it. Yeah. Even Pop the Balloon, I love the host. Yes. Like, I'm obsessed with her. I'm like, she is so classy. She's so on. Amelia, like, you know, you're watching Chicken Shop Date, it's like they stand out. So even though the formats have been done before, no idea is original. Everything's been done before. You know, there's that, you know, it's all about how you flip it, but I think it's also about the main talent leading it.
Yeah. And I just want to add to that, like, yes, all the formats have been done before, but the exciting thing is, in a television world, it's not enough to say, let's do it again with digital talent, because they would all say, that's boring, we need something brand new. And that's what I love about it. It's like, it's been taken into our hands to say, but we're going to do it the way that we want to do it. All we're going to do is just add our sort of authentic characters, real people, digital characters, and it's massive again. And I think there's a lot of learning to be taken from that.
Just to ask a question and to put it to you guys, because I think it's interesting, the conversation that's emerging, especially that point about like what works on TV, what works on digital, but also acknowledging that none of the ideas are really original. So what is that line that makes you say, actually, Chicken Shop Date works better on TV, on YouTube, but if we moved it to TV, would it have the same impact? And thinking similarly across the different formats that you guys have worked on, some of Channel 4.0's content works on digital. Do people want to watch it on TV though?
Well, with Chicken Shop Day, my show is 8 minutes long. So I think that the length and the fact that it's short form obviously lends itself so much better to digital. I think that if it was, I mean, I pitched Chicken Shop Date back in the day to all of the broadcasters, and they all said no, but that's obviously the best thing that happened, that they said no, because then I put it on YouTube, and here we are.
Idiots.
So dumb, so dumb.
But I feel like the length, I mean, the fact that on digital, you know, the length of something can be, it can be 1 minute, it can be 20, it can be an hour, it can be so many different things. things. And I feel like it's that flexibility which makes Chicken Shop Day stronger on digital. I think if it was going to be on television, and I've had numerous conversations with people, even honestly still people like broadcasters are trying to reinvent it for television, it would just have to become something very different. And I think what people really like now about watching digital formats is you're straight into the action. There's like no setup or build, you know, a Chicken Shop Day opens and you're right in it on the day immediately. And I think obviously attention spans, as we know, are like going lower and lower and lower. And I think that it kind of is just working in the time that we're in.
Yeah, I can imagine it now. Just like if it was on television, it would be, oh, I'm Amelia and this is Chicken Shop Day, the show where I meet loads of different rappers and get to, and it's like, we don't need to do that.
We don't need to.
We just get straight into it.
Or they might recast it like they did on Pop the Balloon. Because Pop the Balloon went on
love
Netflix.
Pop the Balloon.
I'm obsessed with Pop the Balloon. Well, I just love it because they've all got like...
balloon somewhere we
But they've all
find.
got like 17 careers. They're like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm at school and I'm an engineer.
It's the
and
state of the economy,
They have
Asim.
14
Everyone needs 5 jobs.
I know, but come on, how many jobs can you have?
In capitalism, as many as I need.
I think there's a real language to like digital formats and really like cutting through on platforms like YouTube that perhaps doesn't sort of carry over to like traditional TV. And I think what Amelia said about how quickly you have to get into something is really interesting. And when Mr. Beast signed that $100 million deal with Amazon to do Beast Games, what I was really interested to see when that came out was like, are they going to sort of take his ideas and get him to sort of execute it in a way that feels a bit more like what a streamer would do? But actually, they gave him $100 million to pretty much just cut it like a YouTube video, and it like, which is crazy when you think about how many people are involved in sort of like commissioning and signing things off, and they just gave him free reign, and like, you know, it was, I think they cut it on like Premiere because all of his editors used that, you know, and so I just thought that was really fascinating that actually it starts within about 5 seconds, something crazy is happening, 4 people have been eliminated before 60 seconds, and when you hear him talk about, you know, Mr. Beast playbook or whatever that leaked last year, where he talks about like the science of YouTube. I mean, he's obsessed and like maybe looks at things in a bit of a sort of formulaic way that people don't always want to, or doesn't always feel super creative. But I think it's really interesting to see the way that he thinks about things and the way that he sort of just applied that to Prime. I mean, I don't know how well it did. I think it was pretty big, but yeah, it's just like watching one of his YouTube videos but on a streaming platform.
Yeah, and I think the point that you made about the science to it, the way that you talk about it, and I guess you can all speak to that as far as the rules of digital, especially when we talk about things like the algorithm and discoverability and what travels. And I wonder, it's like, how do you think creatives should navigate, or how are you guys as individuals navigating it, and how should creatives navigate the kind of tension between what platforms reward today and building something for tomorrow? Because it feels like the rules are always changing. One day it's landscape video, then it's horizontal video, then it's like you got to use a trendy caption, or you got to use this. These are the new rules. But from a creative perspective, how do you reconcile that?
Well, Asim can probably speak to this too, I've always used comedy as the way to connect with people. And I've always thought that like if I'm making something and it's making people laugh and it's making me laugh or my friends laugh when I show it to them, then I'm ready to put it out there. And so that's kind of like the barometer that I use to like give me the confidence to kind of press, like to upload it. So I've always really used that, because I feel like once you start chasing the algorithm, you basically just kind of lose all sense of yourself and creative control, and I would never recommend doing that, or chasing the views, for example. So yeah, for me, I've always just, is this making me laugh? Or am I finding this entertaining or interesting when I'm watching it back? And also being quite specific with your audience. Like, I make things for my sister and for my friends, and if they think it's funny, then, or if they think it's good, then I have the confidence to put it out there. So I think you should, if you're interested in making things, whether it's you want to be in front of the camera or as a producer or whatever, a camera operator or a director, like, narrow down your audience, because I think if you're trying to please everyone or make something for everyone, then I don't think it's gonna land. So but then at the same time, there are amazing best practices, like where you can have a hook at a video, you know, so you have the really funny moment right at the beginning, and then you go into the main thing. There are also, like, different social media platforms have actual rules of, like, they start demonetizing videos when they're over a certain amount of minutes. So you can look into those, and they do genuinely work too. But I would just say, what do you want your video to be? Do you want it to be funny? Do you want it to make people cry? Do you want it to be meaningful? And if it's doing that for you and the person that you value their taste, then you should have the confidence to upload it.
Nice.
I think what Amelia said about testing it out as well is a really good point, but also testing it out to people's whose sense of humor that you really trust, or judgment that you really trust. Like my wife, one of the main things, the reason why we're good together is because we just laugh all the time. I make her laugh, she makes me laugh. Hers is a bit more unintentional because she's just a ridiculous person. But for example, I was just testing out, I'll test out some Chibadi G stuff to her. The other day, my little brothers were around. They're all like Gen Z, 17, 18. And they all kept on being like, I can't. And I was like, what are you lot saying? They were like, I can't lay. And I was like, so I just started doing it to my wife, and she found it really annoying but funny. And I was like, I can't lay, babes. And then it became even like anything, like laying back. I can't lay. I jumped in a laying back leg. That was a hair leg. What's the way for leg? And then I just did it, and then it went viral. And it was like, but that was judged on, first of all, my little brothers getting triggered because I was rinsing them. So they knew that it was, and then my wife just loving it. And so in a way, yeah, it's like testing out the stuff to the people that you really trust, their opinion. And if it's making her laugh, I know it's going to make a lot of people laugh. And also she's got quite a broad sense of humor. Yeah. She's not like a niche comedy kind of connoisseur. So if she's laughing, I'm like, any old idiot would get it. Love you, babe.
I think the question about discoverability is like a really interesting one, and I think this is a bit of a less fun answer, but like as a commissioner, when we're sort of being pitched lots of ideas and then we're going into the room to sort of talk about them among ourselves or pitch them to our head of department, the thing that we're, particularly if we're commissioning onto YouTube, the thing that we're always thinking about is like the packaging. So I think like historically a commissioner would spend a lot more time sort of up front sort of drilling into like the really granular aspects of your idea or the format and really thinking about the show. We obviously do that. But actually, when we're thinking about things at like the top line, when something's just come in, I really want to see like what's the thumbnail and what's the title? Like how is that going to sit on YouTube when we think about, the other things in the space that it's going to be competing with? A lot of the times we could get pitched ideas that are in quite similar territories, but someone might present me an idea with like a really clever way of sort of framing it in a title or putting like a thumbnail together that allows us to see what that's going to look like on our platform and how that's going to cut through in a space like YouTube. Because, you can have the greatest video in the world, but if it's not packaged in the right way for the right audience and put on the right channel, then it's not going to cut through and the algorithm isn't going to feed it. And I think, chasing the algorithm is challenging, and you need to be able to sort of be creative and lean into your instincts. But at the same time, it's understanding how you make the algorithm and the platforms like work for you. Like, don't be sort of belligerent and just say, well, this is a great idea, it's going to cut through. It's like, okay, cool, the video is going to be great, we love the idea, but how do we frame it in a way that it's going to work on this platform and it's going to reach our audience? Because if we can't do that, then it's not going to be served up to people. And at the end of the day, what we want to do is bring ideas to life, create shows that resonate with audiences, and reach lots of people. And you start by, being really focused, like making videos for your friends, or thinking, with 4.0, we have a really clear idea about who our viewer is. And we know that if we can satisfy like our target audience, then that's going to give it a better chance of finding a slightly bigger audience, and so on and so on and so on, until your sort of inside jokes with your mates become one of the biggest channels in the world.
Did you want to add anything, Trent?
Everyone's kind of said everything, but for me, it's kind of agreeing with Amelia. Like, don't get bogged down by this algorithm thing. Like, you have to live and die by what you make. So if you make something you're proud of, you enjoy it, and I know it's a really ideological way of thinking, but if you make something that you enjoyed making, you found funny yourself, it's a great place to start, and hopefully it can go where you want it to go. But don't get bogged down by the algorithm. Just make what you want to make. Be proud of what you want to make. It's a good place to start and go from there.
Perfect. That's some great points. Obviously, at the start of this conversation, we asked who watched TV, and I shuddered at the lack of hands that went up. And the success of Chicken Shop Date is because people in TV said no. For the creator right now who's coming into this industry, is television even something, and I know you're a big advocate of reconciling both the digital and the TV, but is that something that a creator should have at the forefront of their mind? Should it still be aspirational? Is it something that's still aspirational for the both of you as creators, thinking of television?
I think, I mean, our story with People Just Nothing is quite a unique one because we kind of did both. We started online, we had in-character profiles on Instagram and Twitter for years. We didn't do an out-of-character interview for 6-7 years. No one knew what I sounded like for 6-7 years because all our characters, all our press was all in character, right? And then we had moments where we existed on YouTube, on Instagram, viral moments on both moments. But it's because when you're a TV show, you only exist for 6 weeks out of the year, right? 6 episodes. So you have to, and it's what Amelia's done as well. You have to exist outside of your main kind of, YouTube show or your TV show. So, we were doing live shows, we were doing comic relief sketches, we were doing Instagram reels, we were just doing everything. So I think there is a way to have your cake and eat it in a sense, but it needs to be kind of thought out. And also you need to commit to it. We really committed to the Corrupt FM is real, Chabuddy G is real. We're doing real live shows, selling out putting on proper raves. Even Chabuddy G doing Chicken Shop Date. We did so many different sketches throughout the years where, People Just Do Nothing isn't just a TV show. You watch it on YouTube, there's hours and hours of content that have got nothing to do with the show. There is a way to do it, but I think it needs to be thought out, and you need to have a real commitment and really go for it as well. I think there is an element of winging it as well. But if you're the main thing is I want to make sure that this is a dynamic thing where it can exist in many different formats, whether it's on TV, on YouTube, live shows, it just exists. Memes, TikToks, it can be dynamic.
Okay, thank you.
I would just say, because I ask myself this question a lot from someone who's come from a TV background, what can we offer someone like an Amelia in a TV background, right? And it's really hard because creatively, you guys have everything TV's ever dreamed of from a creative perspective, but I feel it's the infrastructure. TV has been around for 60, 70 years. Yes, it's been made by all the same people, and that's the biggest issue I have with TV. But it has infrastructure, it's been there, it's got built to a point where it works, it's a really well-run, oiled machine. And I feel you find a lot of creative, digital formats that end before they should end. For various reasons. It could be something that's happened externally with people involved in the show, or the money doesn't work as well, and all those things that I feel TV solves. TV future-proofs things, and with television, when formats go, it's because they have decided they no longer want to make it. Very rarely does it just drop off the face of the earth because there's been a million reasons why it's failed. I think TV, that's what TV can offer creators, especially now, is future-proofing and stability, basically. And that's why I think that there's synergy there.
Yeah. And just to tag onto that, as part of your process of, trying to reconcile the both, what are some lessons that you are learning from digital that you're trying to bring into TV?
Oh, that's good. So I feel when I was in television, I always advocated for the amount of pictures I've probably had Amelia in to try and get into shows, and the amount of conversations I've had to try and explain why you are amazing and why you're a big deal and why do we not just use...
Are you pitching Amelia now for something? Are you trying to
maybe, butter her up? Where's Rebecca?
Rebecca, let's talk numbers.
Yeah, so having to convince all these older people, I nearly called them old farts, that's really bad. Old people who don't watch that sort of stuff, that Amelia is a big deal and it should be considered for ideas. It's really frustrating. And what I've loved, because I've recently gone to join After Party Studios, the best company ever. My boss is over there. So
give him a raise.
Yeah. No, the most refreshing thing, the thing I've learned the most is that in a digital space, I don't have to explain who anybody is. That's the beautiful thing. It's that, yeah, should we use this person? Definitely, they're great. And there's an element of taking a risk that is so much more of like available, an option in a digital space. In a television space, it's very scary to put someone, you know, Amelia is a risk for some reason, and it's like, are you crazy? Like, the amount of people that Amelia's worked with that you would have dreamed to work with, the numbers you're getting on videos, you can only dream to get these things. How could that ever be a risk? But to do Ant and Dec, that 600th version of one show that's been going on forever is not a risk. And that is the exciting part of the digital space. So yeah.
The old farts always say, like, they don't know who they are. They're like, my son loves that guy. Get him in.
Line. Or they see that one video on Instagram and they're like, oh yeah, I know him. And it's like, you don't really know him. Yeah.
I think, you know, like, I meet with like a lot of creators a lot of the time, and I think for lots of people, like, TV does remain still quite aspirational, even if only because then you can tell your family that you've been on TV and they actually understand it, rather than saying, oh, I'm on YouTube and they don't really get it. And I think, you know, it's important to appreciate that people have aspirations, but also these spaces are converging. So we'd never say, like, you know, abandon digital to just like focus on a TV career. And I think if you're just focusing on TV, then you should also probably be thinking about what you're creating on your own platforms. But I think as well, for creators going into TV, I think it's really important to understand that is a very different space. And I think as creators, you sort of build community around what you do, you build your audience, and, you know, there's a relationship there. And I think sometimes it can be quite scary or exposing going over to the other side. You know, someone like Nella Rose, for example, who we've worked with loads on Channel 4.0, and is brilliant, you know, one of the best, most, you know, brilliant creators in the UK. You know, when she went on to I'm a Celebrity, you know, and was in a sort of, well, one, being broadcast to like the whole country, people who don't know her, who don't understand her tone, being edited by people that are maybe less sympathetic and less understanding of like her tonality, where she's come from, how she wants to come across, and also the way that that's then received in the press and the sort of narrative built around that. You know, after her experience in the jungle, she was sort of like, cool, I don't know if I want to keep doing TV, you know, like digital is my space, that's where my people are. And I'm sure she will sort of find the right opportunities to do that. But I think there's like a trust and a community that comes with building audiences on digital that I think is really powerful. And I don't know that exists in the same way for talent in the TV world. I think it's quite ruthless.
Yeah, Amelia, go ahead.
I think it's also important to think about why your idea would work for television. Like, I am developing lots of ideas for TV at the moment, and they're all scripted. And I really feel like scripted, obviously, is still incredibly popular and thriving on television. I love watching scripted shows on TV and on streaming, and so I've been working on like my ideas for my scripts for many years, and I would love for them to be on television. But I also think back to Asim's point, like you have to think about things in like this 360 approach. Like with People Just Do Nothing, they had the TV series, they also had YouTube, they did live events, like you still do. And I think this is another reason why this is so important to me, this exhibition, because when you're a digital creator, you obviously build this amazing community and audience online, but you don't really ever get to meet your community unless you make a point to do it. And so for me, I really felt like things were also moving more into the real life world. You know, I think after the pandemic and everyone being glued to their phones still, I think there's going to be a resurgence of people obviously wanting to connect in real life, because there really is nothing better than having a real in life conversation and connection with someone. So I feel like when you're thinking about your aspirations for television, sure, great, but I think the bigger picture is just to be thinking of there's so many different ways that you can connect with your audience, and really you kind of now have to be doing them all. So it's just sort of like not one or the other. And so yeah, I do have TV aspirations, and I think you just have to think who's my audience and why should it be on television and why should it be on digital, because it's like different, it requires different thought. Yeah.
And in terms of, I mean, one of the things that always astounds me when I think about how much digital has grown, like we're talking about 10 years of Chicken Shop Date, and for the most part, production-wise, at least what we see hasn't changed dramatically. It's a chicken shop, a girl, and a celeb.
And nuggets.
And maybe a little jiggle, like a little dance. And it's worked. And then on some ends, you're on TikTok and it's podcasters sitting around a chair and they're all talking. And then on the other end, it's like sidemen and they've built like a massive jumbo stadium and they're doing gladiator battles. And the production value ranges from one end all the way to the other end of the spectrum in ways that I don't think I ever saw coming. I guess for young creatives who are trying to stick at a format, what do you think are the trends or things that they should be thinking about? Like, is there still space for the scrappier, simplified, stripped back version in a world where Mr. Beast is doing fantastical assault courses and challenges? How do you cut through in that kind of arena now?
I do think there's room for such a variety of different types of production levels to something. But one thing you have to have is great sound. Like, if the sound quality is not good, no one is going to watch it. Everyone is just going to skip it. And that's something, honestly, I learned. Like, I didn't have a sound operator on Chicken Shop Date for like years. The first episode of Chicken Shop Date, my mic doesn't even work. And I feel like subtitling your videos and like making sure the sound is correct. Like, if you've got that, like, you could be kind of anywhere. But I do really feel like, because the algorithm is so potent and you're skipping like so much and you can watch so much stuff, if it's not a clear video and the sound isn't good, people are just not going to watch it. But I really do feel like you could make something for like no money, or you could make something for thousands. Yeah. But I don't know what you guys think, because you guys
be on the same space. Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's always space for great ideas to cut through and find audiences. I think, there isn't a single type of production value that rules or works. I think it kind of very much depends on who you're trying to speak to and why. I think the greatest answer in terms of getting an idea out there is actually understanding who you're speaking to, creating something that feels really unique in the way that it does that, and then sort of, just like really leaning in. I think, there's lots of content out there on YouTube or TikTok, on, across the social platforms that are quite lo-fi, quite scrappy, quite stripped back, and I think, so you don't need to go out there and compete with like crazy budgets to build an audience and sort of take people on that journey.
I think Amelia's point about sound is such an underrated thing, because you can kind of forgive bad lighting. Lighting is what makes it look professional. But if you don't have good sound, then no one can hear you, and it's just like it's such a turn off. So yeah, that is a great shout. But I would say look at all these great content creators. From Amelia to KSI to Mr. Beast. Go on their YouTube channel, go to the upload date, go to the oldest video, it looks like a pile of shit, right? People just do nothing. I used to film it on my little Canon 5D Mark II. If you know, you know. No one knows. It was like the first DSLR camera that could film, with the camera lenses. So no one even knew it was a video camera. People would be looking at me like, is he doing photography? But I'm filming, right? And it was all freehand and it looked terrible. It looked terrible because we were trying to make a fake documentary to make it look terrible. The sound was still good though. We still had good mics, to a point where even in the comments, people thought the show was real because it looked so lo-fi. They thought it was a real documentary. So people would be like, who are these chavs? Get a job. That Chibuddy Cheek, get him out of my country, right? Because they thought it was real. For us, that was a great compliment because we were trying to make it look real. But it doesn't matter. Yeah. The quality, sound does matter, but it's all about if you've got a good idea and can you.
But now it's so it's like, I actually don't feel like there's an excuse now to have bad quality video, because you can film something so amazing on your phone. Like, I've done full red carpet interviews that have been filmed on an iPhone. Like, so it's just the technology is like in your pocket right now, and it's so easy to access. So I feel like now the quality is definitely going to be there.
Nice. Have good sound. I hope if there's one thing you took away from this entire conversation, have good sound. We now want to go back to you guys, so you don't feel like you've been forgotten about. Are there any questions? Any questions? I see. Okay. We've got time for about 3. I'm not going to make that decision. You will. I empower you to choose the 3 questions.
Ooh, your hand went up first. So.
Speed wins.
Hello, my name is Sasha, and my question just was, for someone who has an idea, I feel like it's really easy to overcomplicate it or think that you really need a really big creative idea. So what's your advice when, thinking of what ideas you might want to do to kind of not overcomplicate it too much? Okay.
I would say, for me, there's nothing wrong with having that. It's about scalability. So if you give me the actual idea in its most linear, simple way, and there's nothing wrong with you then saying, and then we could add these parts, and then we can add these parts, and then we can have this all singing, all dancing version. So basically have the different elements of it and understand that you have scalability, because that's something that really counts at the moment.
I was going to say, if you could pitch your idea in like 10 words or less, in a way that I come away from that with an idea of like what that's about, what's at stake, and what journey that's going to take me on, then I think you're probably in a good place.
I feel like you should look around and use your network and use your community around you when you're thinking of starting your first idea. When I was doing Chicken Shop Day and it was the column in the magazine, first article, I wanted Rihanna, okay, and that was not going to be possible. So I found my friend had a new and amazing MC who maybe had like one song on SoundCloud, and I did the first episode with him, wrote it up, and that gave me a proof of concept. He was hilarious, it was amazing, and sometimes those really big people actually don't really give you that much, and obviously you might not have the access to it, but like, so, and regardless of whether it's an interview format or not, I would say, like, you want to do a documentary about something, do it about something that's near you, and that you use it as like a pilot, a proof of concept to then build. So I would say just, use your network and what's around you.
Also, I would say that if you really know your idea, people who don't know stuff, they ramble, don't they? They waffle. If you really know your idea, you can be very concise, and like you said, can you pitch it in 10 words? But the key is, if they say yes, and then they really want to unravel, you're ready. You have thought of every question, you know every answer. So package it in a really accessible way so it shows confidence. But then if someone wants to unravel, you'd be like, there's no question you can ask me about my idea that I haven't thought about 100 times before.
I think that point about like waffling or rambling is such a good one. Like, you wouldn't believe how many times people come into pitch and just go 100 miles an hour and just start saying so much. You're trying to process that information. So yeah, I think that's a great point.
There you go. 10 words or less. Question number 2.
10 words or less.
We should do that.
You waffle your out.
Ask your question in 10 words or less.
I've
Go.
got more than 10 words, sorry. You spoke about the difference with TV and digital. In digital, you kind of get straight into it, and also the importance of being like a 360 approach. But how's the pressure, especially with social, of everything having to be good? Like, every second has to be the potential for the viral moment. Like, there's no space left in social at the moment for like the setting up or the like living with your idea. Do you just have to make everything where like every second of this is amazing, or can you live with stuff?
I was going to say, this is such an interesting question, because people chase this viral moment and everything being good, but I'm sure Amelia or Asim would say, like a lot of people that we work with, that you never know the moment that's going to go viral. Like, sometimes it's the thing you least expected. Like, imagine the Chabadi G stuff, and you're like, I didn't think anybody would pick up on that. And that isn't necessarily making everything good. It's just making sure that the thing makes sense and it's funny. So yeah, I wouldn't ever chase that moment or make sure everything's got to be good. The whole package, the whole thing should be good, and whatever will be viral from it will be viral. And yeah. I
feel like everything should be good, but like that doesn't mean it has to be everything's going to go viral. But I feel like every time I edit something, I'm actually always cutting the fat out of it. I mean, that's why I've stayed with short form for so long. I've seen, when I started, the episodes were like 5 minutes, now they're 8 minutes. But you've seen the birth of like podcasting, where like people are watching 3-hour-long conversations, and there is a massive audience for that. So like, my style is short form, other people's style is long form, and I really do think there's an audience for everything. But personally, I feel like I don't want to include something if it's not funny, interesting, or entertaining, so then I edit it out. But I'm sure people might watch the full filming of Chicken Shop Date, which is about 40 minutes, and think, wow, I could watch the whole thing, it's brilliant. And the number one comment I always get is, I wish these were longer. And I just think, no, my style is just not that. And so I think that, you know, as long as you, when you're watching your thing back, you think you're happy with all of the moments and you think it's strong, then that's what matters. But you know, you're never going to know what bits are going to go viral.
Yeah, I think I completely agree. I do think a video should be as long as it is good. But I think you have to be able to watch anything that you've made with a critical eye and think about, like, is that really additive? Could we lose that? I think, you know, on platforms like YouTube, like, you don't really want to be giving people the chance to drop off, particularly if you're trying to make something that's like really entertainment first. Obviously there is like really long form content, like podcasts, it's a bit more like lean back and conversational, and someone's going to be pottering around the house and sort of do it. But if you're trying to create something that someone is sat there choosing to watch and you want them to stay to the end of the video, then I think it is important to be thinking about that. How are we going to sort of retain people for as long as possible? So yeah, not having like a really convoluted intro where you're explaining stuff for like 5 minutes at the front, or when you get to the end, sort of taking ages to sort of get out of it. But yeah.
Yeah, because that's the skill. I think there's so much skill in being able to refine something. And I think that's the skill that some people have and some people don't. Like, some people are not able to refine their idea in a way. You know, even like when you think about 4-hour-long movies, you're like, this could have been 90 minutes.
This could have been half that.
This could have been an email.
100%.
There's a skill in that, you know?
To add to that, sorry. Asim. The power is in a good edit, I would say, for what you're after. Yeah. And if you go out there, one of the installation pieces that I think is so smart is one where you can see Amelia's notes, where she's like, let's close up here, let's cut this. Being able to watch your content, like you guys have said, with a critical eye, and knowing where the gold is, and weaving that together and leaving the fat on the table. But yeah, definitely check out that piece so you can see how detailed she gets as far as critiquing the piece, and how you manage to get from 40 minutes to a 5-minute or an 8-minute episode.
Can I, it's a hot take here.
Go ahead.
I don't actually
Yes, finally.
I don't actually fully agree with the panel here. Okay. I understand what you're saying, but what I would say is that I don't think everything has to be good. I think if you believe it's good, you should upload it, okay? And I think there's an authentic kind of opportunity there to show, look, sometimes you go on people's pages, every video, millions and millions of views, and you're like, really? Like, no. You go on my page, my personal, my Chobani, some videos got millions, some have got 50,000, 80,000, that's still successful. I just think it's like, if you've got a good idea, I think just put it out. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely uploaded something, waited 10 minutes and been like, it's not moving, delete.
Delete it.
I've done that, right? I'm sure we've all done that. But I think there's beauty in having the courage to fail and the courage to show people that, look, not every video is gonna hit, and that's fine. And sometimes your old videos that didn't hit back in the day, they could resurface, and you could, you know, someone could clip it up and be like, you lot missed this one's underrated, you know? So I just think, just upload it. If you think it's funny and the people around you think it's funny, leave it up there, because it's a testament of us as humans. We're flawed. And social media is such an avatar that we put up that's so carefully doctored and this needs to be perfect. No. Put it up.
Asim, I thought you were going to shake the table. You just tapped it. Like, it was like a little...
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
I think we've got time for...
I was just trying to get... Guys, that was a hook.
Yeah.
We're going to clip that. We're going to
clip it.
Spitting facts, man. And the only other thing I would say as well, agreeing with Asim, is that, and I get this, I see this with Munya quite a lot, right? Munya will take loads of time making this amazing piece of content, and the video of him saying mustard, the Kendrick Lamar mustard, is huge, and he's literally just done the silliest little thing in a small amount of time. So sometimes, even overthinking it, I think all of us probably been guilty of overthinking, really sitting there thinking, do we need to keep this part in? Sometimes just go with your gut, just see what you know what's gonna happen, and just put it out there. So.
I think we're going to have to round up because I want to take closing remarks from the panel. With that being said, though, I have coerced these guys to hang around. So if there's anyone that really resonates with you that you want to ask a couple more questions, shoot your shot. ignore their personal boundaries and ask them whatever you like. I mean, the big crux of this conversation was about the future of formats, and I'd love to get some closing remarks from, I feel like Jerry Springer, like when he like closes in, like I'd love to get some closing remarks from all of you guys on, if you had to bet on like one force kind of shaping the future of formats, from creators to broadcasters to the platforms to the algorithms, where would you put your money on and why?
I would say, I'm going to not sit on the fence, I'm going to say a thing. So I think the streamers, we know are leading things at the moment, and I hear mutterings of them potentially starting to make very similar YouTube content, have a YouTube interface.
They're taking over the streamers.
The streamers are here. But no, it's really exciting because they have a load of money and they can make some really cool stuff. So yeah, I think they're going to be the main kind of players. And you know what's really great about them? They are really excited about a lot of the creatives and the digital talent we have out there. And so that really excites me because I think we're about to see some really brand new formats, things we haven't seen before, as well as the stuff we love and used to, but with a digital spin. So I'm excited about that.
I think creators who understand platforms. Because, you know, it is an ecosystem at the end of the day, and, you know, you need to be putting your content somewhere, so you're making a decision about what you're creating and why and where it's going to live. But I think, you know, creators that really understand the platforms that they're operating on and aren't beholden to, like, one single platform, yeah, I think they have the keys.
This event's sponsored by YouTube, right?
It is. So you can plug.
Yeah, YouTube.
There we go. Shout out to YouTube.
When you said streamers, I thought you meant live streamers.
I like
Them two.
speed.
Because what? Apparently the live streamers are taking over.
Yeah.
I don't actually watch much streaming, but I actually feel like I've seen such hysteria around streamers. And that's kind of interesting to me. I also saw like some watch parties happening recently, which I thought were really interesting. People coming together and like watching online content like in real life, and that's something that really interests me, like blending the digital and the online and the real life together. But I just think in general, people who are authentically telling their own stories, like that's to me where like the future and the now is. And as Kaio said, like people who are able to understand each platform and what you kind of need to post on each platform, and being kind of like digitally literate in whatever way. And also personal brands, I think they're so important right now, but I think they're going to continue to be important. And so like being able to like have your own identity and kind of brand yourself in a way, I think people are looking to individuals more than they are to companies.
Okay. Well, Amelia, Asim, Kaio, Trent, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank
guys, you guys have been a great audience. There you have it. I've been Ade Onibada. Please enjoy the rest of the exhibition and ask any questions that you didn't get a chance to ask. Bye, everyone at home.
Thank you so much.